Everybody, welcome to Stack Your Points. Thanks for watching and listening. And this is the Friday Q&A segment. So your questions, we answer them, sometimes up to an hour, sometimes it creates its own episode in and of itself. So if you have questions, always feel free to drop them on the YouTube channel or email us at stackyourpoints@gmail.com. But we hope you enjoy this week's Q&A session. Thanks for watching and listening. Welcome to yet another episode of Stack Your Points. As always, I'm Matt from Matt Clausen YouTube channel, joined this week by Lonnie from Call Me Lonnie. Lonnie, how are you today, sir?
Sounded much better. I'm almost back to my normal voice. I realized last week was just the trailer to the real movie that came later. I went down this weekend, y'all. This week was rough, but I'm back at it. I came back up. I'm almost done. So you might hear me sniffle. I might cough a little bit, but I'm way better than what I was. But yeah, last episode, that was just the pre-show to what really ended up happening. I went down pretty hard last week.
So was the absolute worst of it while you were arguing needing to your points caps
No.
or discussing the philosophical natures of your points caps?
No. It was funny, and has nothing to do with what Matt's talking about right now, but I thought that I had just had a heavy weekend and ended up like ruining or losing my voice because everything else was fine. There was no headache, no fever, clearly breathing out of both nostrils type of scenario. And then all of that just kind of went away. And I'm like, I'm sick. And that's weird for me to say. That like never happens. I'm from one of those families that the people just never get sick, like period, ever. But when we do, it's bad. And so I'm on the mend now.
Excellent. Glad
longest intro ever.
No worries. We're also joined by RJ from Do You Take Cards. RJ, how are you today?
I'm good. I beat Chase 524. Like, I was LOL 24, and for some reason they're like, you can have this IHG card. And I'm like, I had got 3 hard pulls for this. Thank you very much. I appreciate it because I'm not getting anything else for a while. So I am in an excellent mood today.
See, I told you. Both
You,
of
you did, in fact, tell me. You were the person that pushed me to apply for this card.
I believe both of my co-hosts here have beaten 524. Me, I hate the term, and I'm just going to reluctantly still abide by it. Deuces on that one. So, as always, we like to jump in and do viewer questions. So, our first question comes from JP, first time asker, I believe. JP, who asks, Award Tool is saying that GarudaMiles, this is Garuda Indonesia Airlines, miles are on sale. Are they good for anything? Should we all load up on them at about 1 cent per point? No. And here's why. Garuda is a member of SkyTeam. You can purchase the miles for about 1 cent per point. I don't know what good value for booking Flying Blue or booking Delta or any of Garuda's alliance partners, much less any code share, any like reciprocal booking airline you could get. If you're going to buy them for about 1 cent per point, but you're only going to get one, if you're getting 1 point, let's say 1.7 cents per point, maybe, but you're arbitraging and speculatively buying miles that may or may not be that aren't significantly better than other SkyTeam partners. Like you can get really good deals with Virgin miles flying Virgin from the US to England pretty easily. You're going to pay some taxes, but your points costs, even for like premium economy, aren't going to be terrible with Virgin, and Virgin transfers with everyone, right? I don't know the expected value of GarudaMiles, so I can't say it's going to be a good deal or not. I also don't know what else you're going to do with your GarudaMiles if you don't have a booking immediately. If you do have a booking with Garuda, do it. If you don't have a booking with Garuda and you're going to try to figure out like SkyTeam with it, there's safer bets. There's just safer bets. RJ, any thoughts on this one?
I like watches. Sometimes watches come on sale that I don't necessarily know if I want, but I see a sale and I go, "Ooh, that would be cool." And then I don't buy it because I don't have a reason to buy it. look, I get it. We all love a sale. We all love abilities. But unless you know for certain, because some, like Virgin, if you've never flown Virgin, you can't actually move your miles through Virgin from one partner to another with Virgin. You have to have flown them at least once to do that. And I found that out the hard way. So if you don't know this program well and have never heard of it, don't just buy the points speculatively because you think they're a good deal. Learn more about the program so the next time they're on sale, you can do it with some assurance that it's going to work. That is my only point in this question.
It's fair. Now, if you are familiar with Garuda Indonesia and you know that your booking capabilities with those points will net you 2.5, 3 cents per point, and you can buy them for a penny, the
Yeah,
world's your oyster.
if you know that you can do this, go for it. If you have something coming up, sure. But if you don't know the program, don't get it because it's cheap, because
Yes.
that's going to lead to you having a stash of Virgin points that you have to transfer to another person to have them transfer back to you, and it takes a month and you look like an idiot. Not that I did that 18 months ago or anything.
Absolutely. Lonnie, any concluding thoughts here?
No, because not familiar with Garuda. But I'll say it like this: when it comes to buying points or miles or anything of that nature, two things. First off, if it makes sense to you, that's good enough, and it shouldn't matter what we have to say, because not everybody's going to agree with you. And the other aspect of it is living by my motto when it comes to your points, your miles. They always need to have a purpose and an exit strategy. So as long as they have a purpose for you, go for it, and you can actually use them. Right? But please don't just buy them and then be like, "Man, I got them on a good deal. What are you going to do with them?" I don't know what I would do with GarudaMiles. This is the first time I ever heard of. Of course, we might be in this travel game. We do not know every single airline there is on this planet. I learned about a new one today. Cool. If you can use them, go for it. But if not, then no, it's not a good deal. And I can't say if they're good for anything or not because I'm not familiar with them. So I'm going to have halfway bow out of this question.
No, your points having a purpose and your points having an exit strategy is sage enough. I can't agree more. And again, points that can be cashed out for cash back, hold on to them because you can always play with them and you can always cash them out at the end of the day. Points in specific ecosystems that are you only get to use the points in these ecosystems or transfer amongst the ecosystems transfer partners and play that sort of merry-go-round or hopscotch or whatever game you want to conjure up there. Those are far more dangerous. If you don't have an exit strategy, you better find one quick. Yeah, you just have to figure that out real fast. If you went into a blind, you gotta get some eyesight real quick. Find yourself a seeing stone. Anyway, next question comes from Double Animal Fries, who says, "What the hell is the credit card endgame? I honestly don't get it. Both of my co-hosts might be very quickly approaching the end game. I have no idea where the heck I am on anything. There's still like tons of cards I want to go get just for funds. But RJ, credit card end game. How do you define it?
I think the end game is with everything available and everything that you can look at, what setup do you want that you would not need or really necessarily want to go get something else? I don't think it includes subs or cards that you're only getting for subs because I think there's always going to be, if Amex tomorrow launches a new card with like 200,000 MR points and it's a new zero annual fee card and I have to spend like $100 on it, yeah, I'm gonna go get that. If unicorns like that happen, I think even people in the end game are gonna go after it. But it's basically it's the setup that works and will work in the future. It's not like life happens, but it's not necessarily dependent on once I have a kid, I'm gonna have to change everything. It's just the end goal. It's really your end goal. Like I am basically there. Once my Surpass turns into an Aspire, like I'm done getting new cards for my everyday collection, and then I'm just gonna roll on the 9 cards. I love that my setup has 9 cards. My 9 card setup, and unless something radically changes, which it always will, right? Like cards get replaced, cards get changed, things happen. That's just gonna be my setup. And then I might get a sub now and then if I want to, or just use my cards, use something like Rakuten and rock on. So that is my definition.
Or Hilton moves back to City or moves to another issuer after their contract with
Matt,
American
I
Express
need you to
ends.
bite your tongue. The only place Hilton is allowed to go is Wells Fargo, but only if Wells Fargo will give me cards. If they won't give me cards, Hilton's not allowed to move at all, ever.
Oh, I absolutely had to. Lonnie, how would you define the end game?
Yeah, so I don't think there's a one size fits all definition to the end game. I think it's a matter of preference per the individual. I'll break it down into a matter of preference per the individual, and I will say it's based around three primary categories. The first would be there's no added value comes in at I already have my card, I have my setup, my spend is optimized. There's I'm not getting anything else. There's not another card out there that can add any more value, except for maybe a sign up bonus. But as RJ said, you got to take that part out of it because it's not just the sign up bonus, it's the longevity of the card. How you plan on using that card going forward? And there's nothing there for me. It's not going to add anything new. I got all the perks and credits that I want. I got all the priority passes, all the lounge access, all the clears, all the global entries. My gas is covered, my groceries covered, everything's covered. No added value. So that's one way of looking at it. The second way is piggybacking off of that, no more cards. And that also falls in the same way, where it's I got all the cards I need for whatever it is that I'm trying to do. Now, yes, there's always going to be more cards out there, and companies can always create more cards as well. But for example, I don't have a Virgin card or a JetBlue card. Not interested, not going to need it. And so, because of that, there's one, no added value, but two, there's no need for me to get another card. Everything that I have is done, it's set. Yes, you could probably add, if you're already in the Hilton, maybe you can add another Hilton. You don't need to add the Hilton, you're just adding it for the sub, but subs don't really matter when it comes to the end game. And then I would also say for the third one is you're over it. Your literal definition of end game is you're getting out of the game. You know what? RJ just said she has 9 cards. I think I just got my 16th, maybe 15th. I don't even count them anymore. Where I'm
Oh, I
like,
have 15. It's just the 9 that will be kept for the setup, just to be
yeah,
clear.
it's like Chase UR cards. I only have one, even though I have 5. They just all make UR points and they all end up on my CSR. So I always count all 5 of those, or 6, however many you want to call it. That's just one card because all the points end up in one place anyway. But yeah, you're just saying, I've done this. Maybe your life is a little bit more settled where you're like, I know I'm taking my 2 trips a year. I know how to optimize, get my spend out of the way for those 2 trips a year. And I don't need to do this anymore. Actually, I don't need to. I got a whole bunch of cards I can get rid of now because I'm only going to stay at Hyatt now, and I'm only going to fly American, who you are. And you're like, I don't need all the Marriotts and the Hiltons and the United. I don't need all that anymore. So you're literally like getting out of the game. Now, one thing that RJ said I want to touch on is having a kid can change your in-game status. And in-game is not permanent. I will say that. You can be an in-game and then come right back into it. And you can be an in-game and stay there. Just because you say you're in the in-game doesn't mean that you're retired and you can't come back. You can put on the 4-5 and hit the court again if you want to. That's up to you. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because me having a kid actually brought me back. I was in my end game between myself and my now wife. We were good with our cards and we were optimized for all of our travel. And then we had a kid. And I mentioned this, the reason why I got the Amex Gold card, because I didn't have a single card, because basically everything was Chase. I didn't have a single card that helped on grocery. And all of a sudden I'm getting 1X on grocery where I could be getting 4X on grocery. And that's the reason what brought me really into getting my Amex Gold card, which set me down on the path of Amex, getting all these extra Amex cards after that. It actually brought me back. And then a year after my son was born, I created a YouTube channel and I really came back in. So now this is actually like my second end game of life. Not planning on having another kid, and hopefully this keeps me where I'm at. But you can, I say all that because just because it's end game, we call it the end game, the term is the end game, doesn't mean that you're out. It just means there is no more added value. There is no more need. You have Mario Karted yourself straight across the board. I am good. And I know the new Mario Kart's coming out, what, 3 days? Good thing we don't this. Good thing the podcast is not recorded on that day because I would not be here tonight. I'll say that. But for all my Mario Kart fans out there, you know that once you have the proper character, the go-kart, the wheels, and the glider, you don't need another kart no matter who you play or where you play. And that's what I mean when it comes to the end game. Think of it like that. And only the Mario Kart people know what I'm talking about. Shout out to y'all.
What is the blue tortoiseshell of credit cards?
I actually have a blue tortoiseshell. You can't see it from this angle though, but you've probably seen it in my videos. The blue shell, spiny shell. Let's see. What's the blue tortoiseshell of credit cards?
But there's no blue credit cards in credit card, Matt. Nothing is blue, so nothing would match.
I don't think there is a blue tortoiseshell. Pop-up jail, that's pretty blue tortoiseshell.
Pop-up jail is the closest thing I can think of.
It won't knock you out, but it'll slow you down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it will. I just think of that more as the banana peel when you're in first and you need to fend everyone off. Not the thing that immediately. Anyway,
the banana peel is $5.24. Pop-up jail is literal blue tortoiseshell.
You know what? I don't think I can argue with that.
Pop-up jail is blue tortoiseshell. Might be an early lead for a title.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I had to. You can't bring up Mario Kart and then not get a question about blue tortoiseshell.
I might skip this podcast for the rest of the episode and literally go hop on and play before the new Mario Kart comes out in a couple of days.
There we go.
Catch me in the air on the airplane playing the new Mario Kart. And I hope you have a Switch too so we can go head to head on this because I don't play. Money on the table. Let's go.
Okay, but you don't own the Switch 2, which annoys me. They can just be like, no, we don't like what you did, and we're disabling your Switch 2.
What do you mean? No one owns it yet. It doesn't come out until Wednesday.
But when Nintendo launches it, you don't actually own your Switch 2 once you buy it. You own the license to play it. So if they feel like you've modified it in any way, they will shut it off and you will never be able to play it again.
Oh man, hardware companies do that all the time. You can always bypass those bricks.
Their EULA's pretty tight, but
give it 36 hours. Now I will admit, Nintendo is one of the hardest hardware devices to unbrick. Give it 36 hours. I guarantee you there's a video on YouTube on how to bypass it.
Look, somebody's going to put Bazite on the Switch 2 and they're going to get a cease and desist letter from Nintendo corporate. And it'll be the funniest thing.
I have friends that have turned their original Switches into Steam Decks. So you can beat that stuff.
All right. Before we go too much further down the Nintendo rabbit hole, thanks, Level. Credit card endgame. I think it's a logical fallacy, honestly. I'm gonna put that out there right now. Like your end game, the end game is user specific. If you are maximizing all your value and you don't need any more cards, you can consider that the end game. If, like Lonnie said, if you have applied for literally all the cards, there's no more cards to get, you're still here. What are you doing? It's over. Go home. Thank you, Lonnie. If that is the approach that credit card companies take with you, great. You can't do anything there. But
are you referring to the dude at the gym that literally picks up the heaviest weights and is you won the gym? There's nothing heavier that they can give you here.
Partially. It was also a Ferris Bueller reference, but no, like your end game, the end game is going to be user specific. I will still be looking for other cards Like I could maximize everything to my little heart's content, but there's always going to be a card that I will be interested in and potentially going after. I don't know that I'm ever going to be in end game. And then when you think that the game is finished, whole new set of rules could just come and upend everything. Hyatt could leave Chase. Southwest could decide that their long-term relationship with Chase also needs to be nuked, and they go and become, I don't know, City co-branded card with City's weird rules. Capital One could decide to get into the co-branded space. The, the game is forever changing, but your end game, your path, your exit lane is what it's going to be. Not everyone's exit lane is going to be the same. We're not all taking the same exit. Thanks,
Now,
Level. Yep.
how long is your Hyatt leaving Chase fan fiction at this point? Has it crossed 50,000 words?
It's longer than the Twilight series.
Okay. I just thought I'd put that out there.
It's so much longer, and there's about a 75-page description of just how upset Jamie Dimon is about the whole thing. It's amazing. Like and subscribe if you're going to read that. Anyway, our next question, sorry, comes from Points with Philip. Check out Points with Philip's channel. He asks, what Barclays travel cards do you like? If none, how can they make them better? First of all, let me just say, they can make them better by leaving travel cards altogether. Secondly, going across, I love my JetBlue business card. I wish I had more of a limit on my JetBlue business card. I'm fine with the limit that I have. The JetBlue Plus card is also a very fine credit card. When it comes to the rest of their cards, the Lufthansa card is interesting, but only in that it gives you two Lufthansa passes. There's nothing significantly special about that card. And I'm doing this all off the top of my head. I'm sorry. The Hawaiian cards are going to become Barclays Arrival Plus cards as soon as the new loyalty program is launched together. The JetBlue Premier card needs to be flung far away from this Earth, preferably into another solar system. The Emirates cards are interesting only in that they give you a 1-year superpower of the 499 card giving you Emirates Gold, which is a really powerful status to status match with other airlines. The silver tier membership on the Skywards rewards card is okay, but again, you only get it for the first year, and then you have to do an ungodly amount of spend on either of those cards to keep that status. So those are one and done cards. I don't care about the cruise cards. I'm sorry, Lonnie, I haven't looked too deeply into them, but it's 1 point per dollar on those.
Like so how. Say whatever you want.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know, like their cruise cards are really fantastically weak. Then they have what is the other card that they have? Oh, then they have the Wyndham cards. The Wyndham cards are also like the JetBlue cards. They're interesting and compelling in their own right, but you're like, one of the things about holding a JetBlue or Wyndham card is you hold these cards and these cards are actually functional. These cards actually do good things for you, the customer. You're still left wondering why they're on Barclays and not with another bank. Sorry to steal that answer. RJ, Lonnie, any experience with Barclays cards in any way, shape, or form? Lonnie's a hard no on that one.
Card, it was the Apple card, so it's been a minute. I just spent some time looking at their website. There's not a single card on here that if I could apply and it wouldn't count for anything and I would just get it, that I would apply for. If I flew JetBlue, I would get a JetBlue card, but other than that, no, I don't know why they have travel cards. I'm sorry. They need to sell their book. They need to sell their entire book. They should just sell their travel cards to Wells Fargo. That's fine. Here you go.
Yeah, there's not a single Barclays card that's a value add to me, so I never really pay attention to them in any way, shape, or form. To answer the second part of Philip's question of what would make them better, then add me some value. Make a card that's one of my partners. Give me something that's valuable in some way that can help me move my setup or my strategy or my experiences forward. And apparently I got that from everything except the Barclays card. So they got some work to do. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and have to bow out of this one too.
Yeah, I feel like at one time they may have had the Continental Airlines cards, but those got, if they did, those got subsumed by Chase real quick when the United Continental deal got done. Yeah, sorry, Phil. Pretty quick answer on that one. Barclays cards do I like? Some of the Wyndhams. My JetBlue business, the JetBlue Plus card is good. Everything else is. I'll move to our next question. It comes from JC, who asks, "Do any of you sign your credit cards?" I don't, because I'm too lazy, and if it's a card, he's afraid of ruining it with the signature and the ink may get smeared. I'll tell you right now, I haven't signed a credit card in at least 7 years. Like the back of a credit card, I haven't signed one in at least 7 years. It sits in my mobile wallet. If it's not in my mobile wallet and it's on my person, I tap it and I put it back in my wallet as quickly as I can. RJ, do you sign your cards?
I do not. It's been at least a decade since I went to a store and heard a cashier like say anything about not a card sign. Like I remember about a decade ago, I was in a local store and they're like, this card's not signed. But
Yeah.
that was, I think it was an older cashier, so I think it was more a them thing than a store policy thing. But yeah, it's really hard to sign your phone, and that's where all of my cards live. I don't sign those cards, and the ones physically in my wallet, there's a place to sign, but why?
Yeah. I There are very particular cashiers, like you mentioned, in very particular places where this is still a thing. But honestly, no. Lonnie, do you worry about your card, the back of your card at all?
No, I'm like you guys. It was funny because literally the other day, I for some reason looked at the back of my card and went, "Oh man, that little strip to sign is still there." And yeah, I haven't signed it in forever as well, and I don't necessarily see that if there's a purpose. One, because you can tap. You never even have to hand your card to the cashier anymore. I know that was used to be for security purposes. And now, even from a security standpoint, even a fraud standpoint, most credit card fraud is not physically done with said card. It's all digital in some way,
Skimmers.
shape, or form. I'm assuming most criminals, I wouldn't know this firsthand, but they wouldn't want to like physically have a card where they're committing credit card fraud because there's a lot of cameras out there and you are on camera with the card committing the crime. So, yeah, use a VPN and IP address or go to your local Apple store and buy that stuff on that fake on someone else's stolen credit card from there. Did I just become an assailant or accomplice to something? As long as no one does it, no, I did not. So don't go do that. That'd be bad, y'all. I did not give you ideas from the hood I grew up in. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't necessarily see a point for it, but now it's almost like embossed cards. I'm just waiting for the time you get a credit card and there's no signature on the back.
Oh, I can't wait for the last of my cards to no longer be embossed. I actually think I have at least one or two cards. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I have at least one card that does not have the little signature box on it.
I know that you got one of those first batches of the Freedom Unlimited or whatnot because I remember mine was embossed, and I'm like, I hate this because it's embossed. And you showed me yours, and it was flat, and I'm like, do I want to order a new card just because it's flat now?
Yes. Your number's
I,
still on the front though. That's
I still haven't done it, but yeah, I hate embossed cards. I really do.
The
now
Apple card has a signature.
no, the
It's
Apple Card doesn't have anything. Yeah, so
No,
that's at
that
least
card,
one.
the Apple card has like nothing on it except for an Apple logo, your name, and a chip.
yeah.
Yep.
And I don't even have the Apple card, but it's good looking.
It's a very pretty card. Now, if you could go to an ecosystem that could do good things with it,
Good.
yeah. So
I'm fine. I don't actually have the Apple card. I don't care. I don't even use an iPhone.
that's fair. So let's see. Do any of us sign on cards? No. And we're starting to get to a place where you no longer have to put your name in the box. Like they're going to take away the box soon. All right. So our last question comes from Kirby G, who asks, "What makes a hotel good? Is it the bed, the breakfast, the way the room looks? As someone starting to leave my hostel era, the bar is literally under the floor. As long as the bed is comfy and it has a functioning AC, it's an A plus for me. Lonnie, you tend to spend, I believe, the most amount of time in hotels amongst the three of us. What makes a hotel good?
First off, getting out of the hostel era, Kirby. Congratulations. We've all had to slum it in. Look, I'll say it like this. The best way I can approach your question is you don't know what a good hotel is until you stay at a bad one. And you don't know that you're at a bad hotel until you actually stay at a really good one.
Yes.
And when it comes to that, and I say this, so coming from the hostel area, you might go to the Hojo, Super 8, Holiday. Sometimes the Holiday Inn is really good, even though we rag on it sometimes. There are some really good Holiday Inns out there. There's also some really bad ones. And for me, how I define it, it's not necessarily about price or luxury when it comes to good, but there is a level of expectation when it comes to price and luxury. So I will say that, in my opinion, just to define good, not too loosely, is cleanliness. Um, if you've seen any of my videos, especially anything where I've done hotel room tours or talked about room tours, there's one thing that I do the second I walk into that room, and that is check for bed bugs. Very first thing before sometimes I might even leave my suitcase out in the hallway, and it doesn't matter if it's a bad hotel, whatever you define as bad, or super luxurious. No one is immune to bed bugs. So I always check for that. So cleanliness is number one. Are the floors clean, or do they at least appear clean? So for example, if there's stains on the floors, there's stains on the bed, stains on the covers, then no, that's not a good hotel. If the paint's chipping off the wall, if there's water, a pipe that's burst somewhere and there's water leaking, and you're like, why is there a wet spot over here in this corner and the air conditioner's over there and the bathroom's over there? Yeah, that's not a good hotel, and I'd probably recommend changing your socks. Then what else? When it comes to service, customer service, I use that as defining good of, I have my reservation. How long does it take for me to check in? In some
Mhm.
cases nowadays, you don't even need to check in. You can do it all digital, go straight to your room, use your phone or whatnot. And other times, and depending on the hotel, you still have to go to a front desk. Is someone there to take care of me when I get in? I already have my reservation. Sometimes most of the stuff is prepaid or paid with points for the most part. Why is this taking 20 minutes for you to give me my room key so I can go upstairs already? Like those types of things, that type of customer service. Free breakfast. What kind of free breakfast? Powdered eggs instantly puts me in the bad hotel category, straight up. There's no coming back from that. Or is the buffet a little bit better? Who's managing said buffet and what kind of stuff is it? Is it just egg, sausage, bacon, and that one waffle machine with the plastic cups, and you got to make your own waffles and flip it over for 3 minutes and go walk around for a minute? Or is someone else back there making my waffles? Is it sit down? That's what I look at when it comes to food, but that also falls in to price and luxury, the level of luxury, I should say. You're not going to get a full buffet meal like you would at a Waldorf at a Holiday Inn. But sorry, RJ. Choice is going to give you powdered eggs in the store. Choice is going to give you powdered eggs. At least a Staybridge Suite will scramble them up fresh. It makes a difference for me. So it's all about what you prefer. There are some non-negotiables. I think cleanliness is 100% one of them. I'm not one that travels with the black light. Sometimes I feel like I should, but I think good really comes down to the varying degrees of cleanliness. Like I said, floor, bed, comforter, pillow, customer service, those types of things. Oh, and also location. Can't stop location. Look, I love Dr. King, but if you're in a hotel on any city in this country that has Dr. Martin Luther King Drive, you're probably not on a good hotel. Just going to call it what it is.
At least 2 to 4 blocks away.
It's one of the most embarrassing parts about our country and where that street just happens to be located all the time. except for Atlanta, at one spot in Atlanta.
Yeah. RJ, what makes a hotel good?
I think Lonnie hit a lot of it. Cleanliness is key, right? If you walk into a room and you make a face instinctively, probably not a good hotel, right? You can walk into a room and there's something off about it, right? It doesn't smell right, it doesn't look right. It's just no.
The remote is locked down.
Yeah. If your remote is on a chain, probably not a good hotel. When I'm looking at a hotel room when I first get there, I turn into my mother when she was like checking my room when I was a kid to see if I cleaned it. Like I look at everything, right? Like I look through the bathroom, I look through the main part of the room, all of that. Just make sure that it's clean, make sure that it's kept well. Look, if the wallpaper is a little faded, depending on what I'm staying at, right? I may or may not care. If I'm in a Hampton Inn somewhere and the wallpaper's a little faded, that doesn't mean it's not a good hotel. It's just not necessarily a higher end hotel. And I think we need to sometimes strip higher end from good, right? Like you can stay at a 2-star hotel that's a good hotel. Like they give you a good breakfast, they do all of the things. It's clean, it's got good customer service. All of that can be a good hotel. It's just not the Waldorf or it's not the Conrad, right? Like those, but I have stayed at higher end hotels. Like I've stayed at a 4-star hotel that was disgusting. And that happens. It is less likely to happen, but it does happen. Like Lonnie said, I check certain things when I walk into every hotel room, regardless of if I'm at a 1-star hotel or a 5-star hotel. Because A, bed bugs can happen anywhere because people go in and out. So if somebody who has bed bugs because they've traveled to 7 hotels because they're a business traveler and they hopped in their suitcase once, like that can happen. And it doesn't have anything to do with cleanliness. Actually, bed bugs tend to like cleaner things because they can move around better. Anyway, that's your bed bug lesson for the day, apparently. So, yeah, so you check these out. But yeah, I think good hotel doesn't necessarily mean you're staying at the Waldorf or the Conrad. It just means that certain things are taken care of. If you go down to the front desk, they have somebody at the front desk 24/7. It's not like from 10 to 5 you can't get anybody. That can be very inconvenient. And when you ask them a question, like they can help you. They can get you towels. They can answer your questions about the location. They're friendly. Like those make good hotels. Like they're trained. Like good hotels train their staff. They don't just throw them on the front desk. And a lot of places sometimes will just throw you on the front desk because they don't have anybody else because nobody wants to work there, right? So things like that help. Ultimately, it is a perspective. What I might think is a good hotel, Matt might not think is a good hotel for whatever reason. Lonnie might be on the fence. It's all going to be somewhat subjective a little bit, but typically we're all gonna, if 5 people walk into a room and they all think it's a good hotel, it's probably a good hotel.
I can't disagree with my colleagues on either of these, especially nowadays when you have digital check-in. Like you can get your room key right on your phone. Like you're checked into your hotel room well before the official check-in time. I check into when I book directly through Hyatt, Marriott, and Hilton, I get my digital key hours before I set foot in the hotel. I still go to the front desk first because I need a physical copy of my keys, but my room is checked in hours before I set foot that hotel. Things like Lonnie's point on cleanliness, like if you walk in through the front doors and you have a bad vibe already, you're probably going to have a bad time. But obviously you're going to check for bed bugs, you're going to check for water damage, you're going to check for anything else that may be associated with water damage. Broken AC unit, AC units you can't control. Anytime you have to walk outside, when you open the door to your room and you are outside, usually not a great time. Usually not a great time. So now that is not to say that all motels are bad. Most motels, though. Yeah. Another thing, though, that can lead to this, what's really the most annoying and disappointing part of this is you can't say a particular chain is good or bad. there are tons of hotels within that chain that are there are some hotels that are just immaculate, and then there are hotels that are a step above a horror show. But the chain is the same because everyone knows that one Hilton Garden Inn. Everyone knows that one Holiday Inn Express. Everyone knows that one Quality Inn. Everyone knows that one with Wyndham you're going to pick on days 8. Everyone knows that there's there's that Embassy Suites. Everyone knows there's that one Courtyard, right? I've hit pretty much all the major. Everyone knows there's that one either Hyatt Regency or Hyatt Place. One of those two. And it's not uniform because the hotel chains went asset light years ago, at least a decade and a half, at least 15 years ago. They don't control the buildings. They don't control the quality in the buildings. They don't control anything beyond the point system that was used to book that hotel. It's all in the property management, and it's all in the hotel management group and the hospitality group that owns the building. And that's the really subjective thing, because you could have an IHG hotel that is just spectacular. You go, you book another IHG hotel, and it is the things that Pennywise is made from. And there's no way to guarantee that Pennywise, the hotel room, is not going to be seen the next time you go to a Hilton, a Hyatt, a Marriott, IHG, or whatever. And it goes for boutique hotels as well. Probably more so with boutique hotels because they're more independent. And so it's really on the hotel at that point. So really, if you just want an all-around good experience, just go to the Four Seasons. I'm kidding.
Matt, you just told me that you have not spent a lot of time in Maine, because half of the really nice hotels in Maine, you walk out your door and you are on beach. That is how some of the nicest hotels in Maine are. So,
Misery, the Dome.
okay, I'm not saying that Stephen King hasn't made all of the monsters from Maine. I'm just saying that there are some very nice hotel rooms that you just walk out and you're on the beach.
I have not spent enough time on the Maine coastline. No, I have not gone down east far enough.
In Miami, there's a lot of hotels, so you just walk out and you're on the beach. It's warmer in Miami as well.
Different kind of wildlife out there in Miami, though.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say on that one. So that'll do it for questions.
No, that last little segment, that last little bit we just did, it was very fun.
Absolutely. Should do it again sometime.
People can find us, Matt, if they want to find us.
Believe if people want to find us and find out more of these shenanigans that we do, check out the new StackYourPoints.com. We have a video feed for our most recent videos. We have the audio feed there. We have links to the Discord. Join the Stack Your Points Discord. All three of us are in the Stack Your Points Discord. Links to our channels are all on StackYourPoints.com, and a contact us page is there to submit questions. You can also submit questions on the Stack Your Points Discord link at StackYourPoints.com. That's going to do it for this week's episode. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.